Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to all of you for your insight and sharing your experiences so that we can all learn and hopefully be better contributors in terms of the reforms that we're discussing. I represent the Northern Mariana Islands, where we have been through more than enough named disasters that we don't measure disasters by years anymore. We measure them, we don't measure time by years, we measure them by storms. And you know, every time we try to get back on our feet, something else knocks us down. And just to give you context, we got hit by Typhoon Soudelor in 2015, which was described as the world's strongest tropical cyclone. And then in 2018, we got hit by Super Typhoon U2, which was described as the strongest storm anywhere on Earth in 2018. And then 2020, we all got hit by the pandemic, which basically brought global tourism down to like a standstill. And because, you know, tourism is our economy, it killed that too. And then earlier this year, and by earlier, 2 months ago, we got hit by Typhoon Sinlaku, which lasted for 4 days and was described as the world's strongest storm of the year. And then just a week ago, we get hit by Super Typhoon Bobby, which was described as the world's strongest typhoon to hit, right? In just a matter of time. And so in having these conversations about reform, I do agree that everybody needs to have skin in the game. And I guess this is a question to Mr. Fugate. What happens when communities, and you know, how do we look at these policies and these reforms to consider communities who are experiencing these disasters not in a singular, not as a singular event, but are feeling this cumulative impact and no longer have skin in the game? I'm sorry, that no longer have skin to give.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I remember the tracks were all going to Guam, and now they shifted north. And if you went down to Guam and you looked at how it got rebuilt, fortunately it had a big military, so that supported that. It changed to construction. There were no more wooden poles. Everything was concrete. They had to harden. And I think that's where, from a federal taxpayer, the advantage is we should not be putting CM&I back the way it was. We should be building for the fact that you're going to have continual exposure to super typhoons. And a lot of construction that people would think would be appropriate don't work there. That costs more money on the front end, but it doesn't make sense to keep rebuilding every time. And as you pointed out, the frequency of the occurrence of these, I mean, it was for a long time. Guam got hit. Saipan and CM&I got outskirts. Now you're getting hit directly. Now, and this is kind of like how Southwest Florida feels, and get hit like 3 hurricanes in a row. You get to the point where we can't keep doing what we've been doing and expect it to work. I think that's where the bill gets to, is we're going to have to change what we're doing. But I think more importantly, this concept of building back based upon 100 years of data and standards won't work, especially in your situation. So we have to build for future risk. We have to build as if super typhoons are not rare events. And I think that's a hard thing for people to get around, because they think of these as singular events, and you know they're not. But communities get hit hard, they go, that was our disaster for 100 years, and we'll go back to the way it was. And then it happens 5 years later, and they go, I thought you said that was a 100-year event. They have no idea what that means.
It's like every other month now.
It does not make sense to do incremental improvements, because it will only fail for the next one. It's like rebuilding a fire station that got hit by a Category 4 hurricane and building it to the building codes. It will fail in the next Category 4 hurricane. Why don't we build it for the function? So I think that's really, this bill gives that flexibility, but it's also going to come back to FEMA working with the governor and Congress. There are going to be some cases where the rebuilding cost will be substantially higher in the territories than it would be domestically. We had to rebuild homes in America's Samoa. People had heart failure at what it cost. We also have Buy American, which also conflicts and causes problems because all the resources have to come from the mainland. But if you build it back the way it was, you'll have it destroyed again. It's as simple as that.
Thank you for that. I'm running out of time. I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chair.